Hello, me again. Carried this all the way from Dalston Junction, would you believe it? I'm down south, by the way. I had some help, but I carried two of them half of the way. One of them I broke apart, and I tried to do this one, but it was made too well. So I need to fix this. And I thought I'd do some more rambling. Firstly, it's really cold, so I'm gonna have to upgrade from this orange beanie to this toasty balaclava. Hopefully you can hear me just fine. It's the little things that make up the big picture. Some of my favorite parts of paintings are in the little details. You know, with this work, and I like to think all the work I've made up until this point, I've always had some core aspects of creating. And one of those is paying attention to those details. You know, this is a catchphrase I've used in other shows, but since this YouTube channel's new, you might not have heard me say it. The quick shorthand of it is that I like to slow down the viewing process to counteract the immediacy of the online images that we exist within. What do I mean by that? You know, we live in such a digital age of bombardment. Our attention is constantly sought after. Right. Where was I? It's all in the small stuff. Yeah. I often find when I'm looking at paintings, my attention zones into the little things. And I think that's true in life a lot, in a number of ways. One being that there's infinite interest, infinite joy in those little details if you just pay attention to them. I'm trying to do it with this new body of work where not only am I making some areas of the painting quite detailed in rendering, but that rendering itself is very detailed in its consistency. It's thick paint, impasto, and therefore there's a detail in the detail. Turtles inside turtles. You can see the brush marks, you can see the paint laid on top of the paint. You know, I just painted some keys, and they're my keys. And I want these paintings to have these little moments where you can just zone in and enjoy, relish in these little moments. A feast for the eyes. I want it to be visually stimulating. You know, as I was saying, we do live in such a visually bombarding time, and art can be old for trains. Art spaces and galleries and just life in general, it doesn't have to be those things. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Art in general, art spaces, exhibitions, galleries, looking is an amazing counter to that. It's a good skill to learn because it has to be learned. The way of seeing. Lots of people get taught and told about this book when you're at art school, and I recommend it even if you're not pursuing the arts. It's relevant to anyone with two eyes, and that is John Berger's book. Berger? Ways of Seeing. Yeah, Ways of Seeing. Short book. It's a really nice framework to adjust how you see things. You know, everyone comes to images with their own biases, their own filters, and this book helps to lay that out quite clearly. But yeah, why the details? You know, we're attention-based creatures. Our vision isn't actually we may be able to take a lot in peripherally in our line of sight in this 3D meets space, but our focus is actually very attention based. It's like you've got blurry blinkers. And in paintings, I think it's a helpful structure to have these moments of not only space to rest your eyes from that intensity of looking, but also those moments of, well, visual delight, or at least I find in my work, or the stuff I like to paint. There's also an element of art making, and it's not true in many other spaces, but I don't think we'll ever get bored of seeing something that requires time to make by the human hand specifically. As good as AI is going to get, it's never going to be able to replace our innate interest in seeing an object imbued with the time taken to make it. It's a hard one to fight against though, because obviously it takes time to make a thing, and you need a means to sustain yourself whilst you do it. Which is kind of what I'm trying to do with this YouTube channel. I'm speaking this out into the world, manifestation and all. I'd like to create a space in which I can create around the things I'm creating. Well, create streams of income around the things that I'm working on. So creating a YouTube channel where I can natter away or demonstrate a concept or show you my paintings in progress or go to exhibitions or visit residencies so that I can sustain myself to do the paintings that I think are worth my time in bringing into our current time. I think I mentioned briefly in the last episode about making what's interesting to you, or not worrying too, it depends what kind of art you like making, but not getting too hung up on the why, especially when it relates to what does this painting do in relation to, the current world we're living in. By nature of just making what's honest to you, it is a reflection of the time we're living in. Does that make sense? Ooh, I just remembered. I got a plant pot I wanted to hang up. It's on my bike. So hopefully that gets nice and big. I've got loads of spider plants at home. I'm going to keep propagating them. I think they're asexual? They're self-producing, self-replicating. They make clones of themselves, so they don't need a partner plant to propagate. So once they get going, they keep on going. It'd be cool to turn this space into a bit of a greenhouse. I think what I'm trying to say is that there's beauty to be found everywhere, in the little details of things. There's artworks all around us for those with the eyes to see it. And that is not exclusive to anyone in particular. That is something accessible for everyone. You just need to get more attentive with your looking. I just scraped this whole face back because I didn't like it. It was too alien. So, the devil's in the details. Da Vinci's in the details. Dali's in the details. You know, it's why I like the painter Hieronymus Bosch. The OG wears Wally, but everybody's Wally. And it's all interesting to look at. I like to reward the viewer with my paintings. The longer they look, the more they see. And the more they see, the more they understand to look. And then that translates to real life. And they start seeing things in the mundane, in the small moments that make up a day. Or at least I hope they do. You know, funnily enough, I think it does translate to relationships as well. Be them friendship-based or romantically. That it's the little things, the little consistent things that make all the difference in the bigger picture. Just thought it was something worth saying. Okay, bye.